Hey guys, welcome to Gen X Married here on the 1043 podcast. Today we're going to talk about something that needs to be addressed because it's an art form that's dying and it's not taught in schools anymore. And we're talking about basic home economic skills that I learned from my parents, my grandparents, my aunts.
I learned how to hunt from my dad and my uncle who grew up much earlier than I did. The point of this is we grew up in a non-digital age, but gave the generations after us the digital. Generation X is the bridge between that analog and that digital.
So if the power went out due to a storm or whatever the cause is, would you be inconvenienced or would you be in danger?
Danger like what? Like not eating for 3 days?
Like not eating for 3 days if I didn't have that skill set.
Yeah, that's panic.
But of course, we don't have to worry about that because I do have the skill set because I took the time to learn as a child and in home ec how to cook and how to survive, how to sew a button, how to patch jeans, how to change a tire. My dad made sure that I learned how to change a tire when I got a car. How to change the oil.
So, what we want to talk about today is getting the generations that came after us, the millennials, the Gen Zs, and God knows what other alphabet they've
Whatever
given y'all.
letters y'all are using now.
Y'all grew up in a digital age. Gen X, us, we're parents and grandparents. We grew up in an analog age. We learned those skills, but because we didn't pass them on, we're doing a disservice to our younger generations. So our call today is to get us to teach. We need to teach that stuff.
God. Millennials and generations after that, sit down with your parents and your grandparents or your aunts who are older than you and get those skills. It's a dying art form of someone knowing how to go into a kitchen, pull ingredients, and cook. Because everything comes so prepared these days of where you can just order something, you can get a meal delivery kit sent to you with all the ingredients, and all you have to do is put it together and stick it in this special machine. And what happens when your stove doesn't turn on or your phone battery dies and you can't get a recipe and Wi-Fi says, well, bless your heart, and it disappears into the abyss? What's your plan?
Panic.
Most people would. But see, being from Mississippi, we don't panic. I was raised not to panic. I was raised to go check the freezer, pull out the cast iron skillets, and figure it out and make sure that we had a meal cooked.
I was raised, drag the grill out, throw either wood or charcoal, the great debate age of our time, but not that pellet. Fake
it's
imitation
electric,
pellet
and
stuff.
you would have no electricity, so you couldn't turn it on anyway. For Gen X, especially in the South, and of course, if you were raised in the North, we were raised to have different skills without technology. Because again, we didn't grow up in the technology age. As we were coming up, that's when technology started becoming available. But for most of us, it was too expensive to get a computer or get dial-up, because it was dial-up then. You didn't have all this high-speed Wi-Fi stuff. We grew up where cooking wasn't a hobby. It was survival. It was something you did every day. Every day there was a meal on the table. Weekends, it was breakfast and lunch. You're on your own. Summer times, it was the same way. Dinner time was, we were cooking and sitting down as a family. Of course, we didn't have the devices, so it wasn't like, leave your device in your room. We sat down and had conversations over meals. And that's what brought families together.
So, to go along with what you're talking about, that technology didn't exist. I mean, you had an electric stove, and that certainly made things more convenient. But the height of technology coming into the late 80s and early 90s was those few of us that knew how to program our VCR. But technology fails, right? So if you don't know how to make a meal without pulling it out of a box, or you don't know how to make a meal without getting online and ordering and having it delivered, what do?
I didn't learn to cook because it was trendy. And everything that you ate wasn't posted online. You learned, again, because we had to eat. We didn't have the modern conveniences. Yeah, we had drive-thrus and we had restaurants. We were too poor to do that. So we had to cook at home. It was a special treat to order takeout or to go through a drive-thru or go sit at a sit-down restaurant. So we had to cook meals, rice and beans, greens, cornbread, chili, fried chicken.
Granny's fried chicken.
Fried catfish. We didn't get to go sit down and have a meal at a restaurant or get on a phone and order food to come delivered to the house.
And keep in mind, when we're talking about going Wi-Fi, and you're probably thinking, well, I'll just run to the local drive-thru. Everything in that restaurant is online now.
Power's out.
If the power goes out, internet crashes, they don't function about is learning how to grow something. Learn how to can, how to cook without which allows you to store food without refrigeration. Learn how to fix things. Duct tape and WD-40 patches a lot of problems.
Learn how to sew. It's easy to go, oh, well, that button's missing. I'm going to go get a new shirt. Learn how to sew. Learn how to patch jeans. It's a skill set that's not taught anymore. People don't know how to sew anymore. It's convenient to go, oh, I'll take it to someone else and have them do it.
Or just buy a new shirt.
Or just buy a new shirt or a new pair of jeans. I was taught on a cast iron skillet with a can of bacon grease or Crisco. And I was taught, my instructions were, come here and watch me. Then as I got older, I could help roll out the dough. I could help make the gravy from scratch. It didn't come in a packet. My granny would roll in her grave if it came out of a packet. You didn't watch. You didn't learn. At some point, as you got older and you left the house, you were eating ramen noodles or whatever you could get out of a can because you didn't have those skills.
I'll tell you, from my first year of college, canned soup gets real old real fast.
So did ramen. We didn't learn skills because they were aesthetic. We learned them because feeding ourselves was not optional. You had to eat. And especially going out into your 20s and going to college, you have a budget. That's one thing else that most people now are not taught is growing up, we had $50 to go a month to go to the grocery store. And you weren't buying box stuff. You were buying stuff that you could actually fix and
Think about
cook.
this. What happens, $50, that sounds, oh, that's so quaint.
Yeah.
What happens if you only have $500, right? You ain't eating out for a month on $500. You're not ordering meals to be delivered to your house for $500. You're buying the raw ingredients and you're combining them together and you're cooking. And what we're saying is, while AI and internet is good and we have the world of knowledge at our fingertips, knowledge is not competence. It's not skills.
If everything conveniently stopped tomorrow, could you still function? Or would you need to call tech support?
Yeah. Tech support. I need to make a grilled cheese.
You're probably going to get some AI that tells you how to do it. There's tutorials for everything. And I get that. We like having options for the delivery and the takeout and the sit down and easy meals. But if our Wi-Fi went out, I know that we would still eat because I was taught those skills. You were taught those skills. You are a grand griller. I mean, you barbecue like nobody else. And I know that I could take care of the rest of that and we could still eat and we would still have food on the table and
Obviously
not go hungry.
So AI and the internet, it can find John Connor, but it can't teach you competence. So what our call today, to get to the point, our call today is we're asking the younger generations, go talk to your parents, go talk to your grandparents. Learn these skills. And if you're Gen X or older, your job is to teach these skills.
Yeah, because we grew up not having devices in our hands, not having video games to play. The kids that came after us, that they grew up in that technology.
And let's be clear, Gen X, we created that problem.
We did. Very much so. We were responsible for that. But now it's time to take those kids, and I call them kids because that's what they are, and say, hey, let's learn how to make a dish. Let's learn how to grow something. You could start with a flower bed, or you could start with a porch tomato plant and work your way from there. If you live in an apartment, you can still grow things on your porches like a tomato plant. Now they have the miniature fruit trees that can stay in a pot. You can still grow cucumbers. You can still grow some vegetables on your porch at an apartment complex. Just because you don't have a big yard doesn't mean you can't grow stuff. We had an apartment starting out, and we had flowers on our back porch.
And to be clear, you're not going to grow enough on your patio, your apartment patio, to feed yourself.
No.
But what you're going to learn is that skill. If you had to shift over, if you had to go somewhere else, for whatever reason, there's a big natural disaster, whatever, and you had to go, you've got the basics from learning how to grow those flowers and grow that little fruit tree. Those skills transfer. You can learn the skills without having to have a giant backyard garden. Learn the basics, but get out there and learn it. And if you know how to do it, teach the younger ones to do this. Encourage them to do it. The satisfaction of growing something.
I know, for me, learning from my meemaw, learning from my aunts, learning from my mom, that I was going to be self-sufficient as I got older, because I learned those skill sets. In high school, I took home ec. It's not what it is today, probably. That was many moons ago.
I think it comes with an app.
Probably does now. Ours was a textbook. And stoves where you learn how to cook or where you learn how to sew. What we're saying is, get with the older generation. Learn how to do things that make you self-sufficient and self-reliant, and where you don't have to rely on someone else to do it for you. When everything goes to shit pot, you'll know how to take care of yourself. And we're not doomsday preppers or anything like that, but we live on budgets. Bills have to be paid. We don't eat out a whole lot. We eat out, but we don't eat out as much as other people do because we don't have the budget for that. I was taught on a very thin budget of how to make it last. How do you stretch your money for the month versus go out and spend because it's convenient, or go sit down at a restaurant 5 days a week because it's convenient. We didn't do that. I grew up where we cooked our meals at home. Going out was a birthday, an anniversary, a holiday.
Special. It was always a special occasion.
It was always a special occasion. This isn't about kids these days, or Gen millennial, or Genial, or whatever you want to call yourselves. This is, every generation adapts to what it's given. But take the opportunity while you still have it to talk to your parents, your grandparents, a great aunt, someone older than you from our generation and baby boomers. Learn how to do something.
And if you are our generation, or you are those baby boomers, when the kids come to your house for that holiday meal or that holiday, teach them. Have the grandkids come in and help you cook dinner. When you have them over the weekend, take them out in your garden. Teach them how to plant. Show them the satisfaction of how to grow something from a baby plant or a seed. So this goes both ways.
Mm-hmm. My grandparents did. They had a garden in their backyard. I always got in trouble every summer when the tomatoes and the cucumbers came up and Granny's salt shaker was missing because they knew who had it. I was out in the garden. Or the fig tree, because my thing was always, I'm going to get the figs before the birds do. And I'd get in trouble because that was Granny's, she made jelly out of those figs. And I would get in trouble for eating the figs.
Mom's idea of a garden, baby boomer, was me getting out there and watering it and hauling the dirt and doing all that. But I had to get a lot older to appreciate that. Granny Martha always had a pear tree and a couple of vegetables growing in a pot somewhere. Because she came out of the silent generation. She was a child in the Great Depression. She learned those skills, and she taught them to me in a very subtle, quiet way. You don't have to be obvious about this. You just, hey, come help me cook, or hey, come help me in the garden. Slowly and silently teach this stuff so that big natural disaster happens. Something goes horribly wrong, and the AI and the internet goes down, the kids can take care of themselves.
Right. Learn how to fix something. Ask your dad or your grandpa or an uncle that's older than you, how do I change a tire? Because when we grew up, it wasn't AAA.
If you really want to have fun, go to the baby boomer. They're going to be your grandparents or great-grandparents. Go to them and ask them what duct tape and WD-40 is used for.
My grandpa had that in his shed by the bundle.
It does wonderful patch. It'll fix a lot of things.
Technology's a tool. It shouldn't be a substitute for basic life skills. So, leading into that, if we're your people, pull up a chair, continue and watch us, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode, because next week's episode is going to be fun.
Really? Like your kind of fun or my kind of fun?
Clean fun.
Your kind of fun.
Yeah, my kind of fun.
Bye, guys.
See y'all next time.